Jewish understanding of the Creator, or should I say realization of the Creator's exaltedness. You can find throughout the Torah, in the Hebrew Bible, if you take the most consistent look at it, not just taking one verse by itself, but understanding it systematically, that it's filled with teaching that the Almighty transcends all of His creation, and He created time, space, and all the factors of time and space. Therefore, the concept and the factors of place, location, spatiality, size, change, time, none of these things apply to Him. He is not subject to His creation. The next thing is a common misconception that Jews worship Ezra, the scribe, as the son of the Almighty, as the son of Allah. That's not really possible to believe if we think that the Creator is not subject to factors of creation, such as time, space, etc. Because having actual descendants or ancestors, fathers, sons, daughters, relatives in this sense, only applies to created things. It cannot apply to the only one, the absolute one, to whom none of these factors apply. So it's just a preposterous idea that Jews would worship any individual, whether Ezra or the one worshipped by Christians, as an actual son of the Almighty. In the Tanakh, in the Hebrew Bible, you will find that, just as in the Quran, figures of speech are often used, whether metaphor or analogies, in reference to our relationship, so to speak, with the Creator. For example, it says in the book of Proverbs that the Almighty disciplines those who He loves, just as a father disciplines his son. But this in no way, if one reads throughout the Hebrew Bible or reads throughout the book of Psalms, you will realize that this in no way implies an actual indication, an actual type of physical relationship whatsoever between the ones who the Almighty disciplines and He Himself. There's no relation whatsoever. Only this term, being called Son and the Almighty Father within the Hebrew Bible, regards the interaction between, not an actual relationship, but the interaction, not the Almighty Himself. I hope that's clear. Alright, going forward. That Jews are humans and affected by their surroundings just like everyone else. Jews don't claim to be perfect, and the Torah, the law of Moses, nor the Talmudic texts teach that Jews are superior to the rest of the world, whether morally or intellectually. Our only uniqueness is that the Almighty gave the Torah His everlasting guidance for mankind through the people of Israel. That's the only thing. And the Jewish people are obligated in 613 commandments, whereas the rest of the world are strictly obligated in the 7 laws of Noah. Deuteronomy chapter 9 verse 5 says this explicitly, that the Almighty did not choose the people of Israel in the sense of select them due to their righteousness. It had nothing to do with their righteousness. Alright, going on. The Torah, the law of Moses, the Talmudic texts, none of traditional Jewish teaching teaches that the Almighty only loves the Jewish people. This has nothing to do with the meaning of the term chosen when we say the Jewish people were chosen. I already explained that that only has to do with being chosen for a particular task or purpose to convey the principles of Torah, absolute monotheism, and moral lifestyle to the rest of the world. The Almighty loves all those who desire to know Him and to uphold and live according to His will. This is explicit throughout Jewish literature. Anybody who states otherwise or quotes the Talmud or the Hebrew Bible, they're grossly distorting the context of the text which they're supposedly quoting, or just blatantly mistranslating it or even making it up. I've seen all of these occur. It would do well to become familiar with the text itself, or take the word of those who are very familiar with the text and study it every day, that this is not the case. That, rather than taking the word of one who is already known to hate Jews and trust his representation of our text when he can't even know or read Hebrew, which is well the majority of the time. Alright? Jews are not a race. That's should be a given to anybody who's fairly familiar with Jews. We are not a race. It's impossible that the Jewish people, the people of Israel, would be a race, because anyone of any nation can join the Jewish people, even Arabs. I know that you'd probably get killed if you chose to join the Jewish people. And I know that you probably don't want to. Most Arabs definitely don't want to. But the point is, the Jewish people are not a race. And I know Arabs personally who have voluntarily joined the people of Israel and become Jews. We're not a race. If you want to argue with that, you're arguing with moot issues. This is all the more so clear to one who actually comes and visits the Holy Land, that the vast majority of Jews here are a mix of all sorts of ethnic groups and come from all kinds of countries, from various Middle Eastern countries, which happens to be the majority among the Jews here, or people who are recent descendants of Jews who came from the Middle East, plus Jews who came from elsewhere. You also see Indian Jews here, Ethiopian Jews, Indian Jews. Many of these terrorist attacks which are done and supposedly justified by the fact that all of the Israelis are from Europe and they're just coming and invading our land, these terrorist attacks always also kill largely Middle Eastern Jews who have always lived in the Middle East for as long as history is recorded. Not that it would be justified any more so if they were all Jews of European origin. Ashkenazi Jews aren't Jews, that's the next thing. That's not true. As I said, even if the European Jews, Ashkenazi Jews, are not actual descendants of the ancient Israelites, it makes no difference, although that's a baseless assumption anyway. That isn't connected to the issue at all. According to Numbers chapter 15, verse 15, there is one law and one adjudication for the native-born Israelite and the one who joins among them, converts. Alright? As the native-born is, so is he. Look it up. I didn't make it up myself. Yeah, and the final thing, it is not necessary to become a Jew to join the Jewish people. One of the unique aspects of the historical faith of the people of Israel is that, unlike Christianity and standard Islam, we do not teach that an individual who is not born Jewish must become a Jew or must join the people of Israel in order to live righteously before the Creator in this world. We do not teach that. Not only do we teach that they don't have to convert, but we teach that they can live a completely righteous life without ever converting, without ever becoming Jewish, according to the laws of Noah. Now, they may personally feel some sort of draw towards living as a Jew or some sort of special closeness to the Jewish people for whatever reason, and voluntarily choose to convert. That's their decision. But it is in no way obligatory from the perspective of Torah, of the law of Moses, and in no way obligatory from a Talmudic perspective. I'd like to hear your comments on these. I imagine they're going to be varied and some of them sharp. Keep in mind that I'm not trying, as I just stated, to change any individual's particular any particular person's religious views. I'm not trying to win anybody over to joining the Jewish people. I only am striving to clarify misrepresentations and misconceptions about the Jewish people, and hopefully thereby bring the world a little bit closer to peace. Because without greater understanding, without really understanding the source of our problems and conflicts, there can never be peace. Otherwise, it's just a temporary, wishful dream. The end. Those who trust in the all-transcendent one are like Mount Zion. They shall not stumble. but they shall be established forever.